I deeply, because of my upbringing, family, and so on, believe in existence of God. So whenever I'm in, a place of worship, or even at my own home, at the place I worship, I think sometimes I end up crying, probably for no reason.
Can I extrapolate and ask you why you believe in God?
I think it's a tough one to put in words, but I think there have been multiple. I genuinely, personally believe that I did not deserve all I have gotten all my life. So I'm just genuinely thankful, and I feel like there's probably a greater power which has just given me this opportunity. I think that's probably, and again, I'm just trying to play it back, but that's probably the reason.
Can I tell you something that is slightly similar between me and you? Is we've been on this train of youngest A, youngest B, youngest C, because I think even though I'm significantly older than you, I think in our own times, we were young at doing something. A very natural parallel to that, something I face deeply, right, is I have imposter complex in so many different facets of my life. Deep down, I believe I have gotten something I have not worked enough for. I also believe I'm not the smartest, I'm not the most hardworking, because there is a lot of tangible evidence for this. I can find you 10,000 people who are smarter than me and more hardworking than me.
Absolutely.
We happen to be in that position in a very circumstantial manner.
Yeah.
Belief in something that you have never touched or felt, like God. I'll probably get trolled for this, trolled as but belief in something that you haven't touched is also a byproduct of our circumstance. When you say God, what is the concept of God to you? What do you mean by God?
In my view, just a greater power than humans. I think that's my concept of God.
Are you taking the religious connotation?
I think I know there is a fine line between these, but I would say spiritual, not religious.
So organized religion, no. Spirituality, yes. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not like, for me personally, I think the belief in the power of spirituality is higher, but
what is spirituality? I often ask people to define spirituality. Each one tells me a different answer. What is Ritesh?
And that is what it is supposed to be. I think for me, it is, like I mentioned to you, I think you may have heard about, in a lot of books, people write, this person is God-fearing. And I think what it basically means to me is that there is somebody who's keeping a sense of
a check
or an oversight on us, and is a greater power than us, and has the abilities to do things which humans cannot do themselves.
You mean in terms of punishment? Because your derivative word was fear?
I wouldn't say fear, but I think more a guiding light, sort of a way to make sure that you can reach your purpose for whatever you're around. I mean, I liked what you mentioned. When I was coming by, I was watching a recent video in which you mentioned about we take ourselves too seriously, and that fundamentally, you're around for a certain point of time. You do the best you can, but the concept of legacy is flawed inherently. I think I fully agree with that. So I think the whole point is, for all the time you're around, you try to do the best you can. Despite, like you mentioned, I agree with your point that you mentioned earlier, which is the conscious mind tries to do all the right things, but subconsciously you're still human. So it's like a constant battle, right? That you want to make sure that you're consciously doing as much to pursue your purpose as possible. So I think that's how I would put spirituality.
This is a question I want to. Did you fear God or submit to God much later in life, or it was always your?
It was actually due to upbringing, yeah. I think it was due to upbringing. हाँ, so हमारे यहाँ ना.
It kind of changed for me in the last 10 years.
So मैं आपको बताता हूँ, तो हमारे घर के. So I grew up in a place in South Odisha, a place called Rayagada. It's I think 60% of the population is Adivasi, which is tribals, right? तो वहाँ पे there is a temple near our house. It's called Majigariani Temple. But she's the tribal goddesses who effectively protects our town. It's said, and there's history behind it and so on. So for example, Odisha, you would have heard about cyclones very often.
Yeah.
कि बहुत बार मतलब बाढ़ आ जाती है, floods होते हैं and so on. So people say that the reason why there's been no floods in our town ever is because she's protected us. Now, many people may have different opinions about it, but I think as I grew up around there, it just sort of became a sense of belief that God captured. Now, it may be rational or not, is a separate story, but it's just my personal belief as an outcome. So, for example, many people used to notice this. I used to, at work, take off my shoes and go inside for the longest time. And at some point of time, I changed it, I think 3-4 years back. But it's, for the longest time, people used to sort of, there used to be a joke that, you know, he's at work by just noticing that the shoes are outside. But I think that's deeply personal to me. I think it's probably the first time I'm talking about it at all, but it's deeply personal to me. I don't think I impose it on anyone. It's everybody's own choice, frankly, but it's just something I personally believe in.
But the clarity in the manner that you're articulating is very refreshing, because you're not being defensive or aggressive in your stance, but you're still being very concise and clear. I think at the end of the day, that's all one can hope for, right? Hi, I'm Nikhil Kamath. I'd love to know what you thought of the episode. Comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.